Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to be here again with Angela. Thank you, Angela, for joining me again. I hope that we can have an opportunity to share some ideas and some thoughts with everybody again today.
Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to share these with you all as we get to know each other a little bit and get to answer your questions. It's becoming more fun. It's still a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's good. So I thought I would first of all start out by thanking Chrissy and Angela of Mama Elephant for this absolutely flippin' adorable set. And if you haven't caught it, you have to go to Instagram, everyone, because Instagram is so incredibly awesome with the hop. Mama Elephant did this cute thing where they showcased the sneak peek of the stamp where they actually opened up the ice cream drawer, and then it made me want ice cream. So did you catch any of that, Angela?
I did see that. It was super cute.
Oh, yeah. So welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us. The first thing I wanted to ask Angela today is, are you a big colorist?
So when I was a kid, coloring was my favorite thing to do. My mom and I would sit in our basement and watch Disney movies and color. And at that time, my style of coloring was like outline with a Crayola marker and then color in with colored pencil. That was just like my favorite thing. But that was many, many moons ago. And then when I decided about 4 years ago that I needed a non-digital hobby and started getting into other forms of art, I actually went for hand lettering, and I was a total beginner. I knew nothing about it, but I was like, oh, this always looks really pretty. I want to give it a try. So of course I needed all of the Tombow brush markers, all of them.
Yeah.
So I got all of them, thinking that was going to make me a great hand letterer. And I still do. I don't do a lot of that, but I do it for fun. Quickly, I found card making again and realized that was even better. And that's when I learned what alcohol ink markers were. And so now I'm a big fan of Copics and also sketch marker. I love the way that just looking at the way that the inks blend together once you learn how to use the markers, which isn't rocket science, like it's not that hard. It just is really, really cool to see the sorts of effects that you can get, and the blends and everything. And so, yeah, that's what I've been coloring with lately. How about you?
Well, I have to admit that I am a huge colorer. Is that even a word? That is my favorite thing though to do, because that's what I find the most relaxing. And it was back in 2006 when I discovered the Copic markers, and I was just hooked on them. And then this last fall, I discovered sketch markers, and I realized that I had to bring those to my customers because I'm a person who truly believes in trying to provide the best service and the best value to our customer base. And so I wanted to share a little bit about sketch markers and how they are very, very similar to the Copic markers. So I have on my desktop here, I'm going to go ahead and try and pin this so I can use it to show people. I put out just a few of my sketch markers and started to color these images so that people could see. And what I did is I also shared around the edge which colors I had picked in here so people can stop on the video and zoom in to figure out what colors they are.
We can see your face still on the, I think we need to figure out how to switch you down.
Well, that's weird because on mine it says that I have the desk surface pinned. It could be because we're behind, or no?
No, I'm looking at it on the YouTube on my screen on the right, and I can see it there. But
I don't know what's going on here.
Now we've got me. It might be the person who's speaking, so you might have to unmute your
You try pinning this again. Does it not show?
No.
Nope. Okay, I'm gonna go to gallery. Oh, you know what happened? It flipped back to speaker. That's what happened.
Okay.
There
you go. Now you got 4.
Yeah. So now I'm actually going to try and pin. I'm going to remove And then I'm going to add a pin and see if it will bring it in. Did it bring it in for you?
I think we're got a little bit of a delay. I don't see a change quite yet.
Oh, it went back to speaker. Well, shoot. You know what? I'll just leave it as gallery. And unfortunately, it will be small just because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get underneath of here and unmute my phone because of the way that I did this.
That's okay. That's okay.
You can already see the light right here in my face.
Oh,
What I wanted to share was that it is very, very much like the Copic color system, or not the Copic color system, like the way the Copic marker actually colors. And I'm going to actually share my screen because that might be my best solution to getting a bigger screen to talk about how this works, because I promised people that I would provide them with information about it, and then it became radio silence. And the reason it became radio silence is because the owners of Sketchmarker are from Kyiv, Ukraine. And so there's a lot to be shared about that story. And with time, I will go ahead and share that. But we are working now to get back on track and be able to provide you with that product again. So what I wanted to share with you is that there is a color wheel very, very similar to the color wheel that is we're all used to. And so the big thing to remember with this, though, is that there's only six colors referenced on the lettering system that they provide, which is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, just like the rainbow. And so when you're thinking in terms of blending groups, the R1 is going to be closer to your violet, and the R12 is going to be closer to your orange or red orange. So, you know, as you go around the color wheel, you'll see that it changes from an R to an O, and the O stands for orange. And O1 is going to be closer to red, and O8 will be closer to yellow. So again, as you come around this wheel, you'll be seeing how it goes from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. And the big difference, though, from Copic is that we don't have the extra set of letters in this particular color wheel. We only have the six it's not primary, it's primary and secondary colors. And then all the neutrals are also off to the side over here. And these are all going to be, again, it's going to be BR for brown, BG for blue grays, CG for cool grays, MG for neutral grays, SG for simple grays, TG for toner grays, WG is for warm grays, black and fluorescent. And so you'll see that there's a lot of different names on the sides here because, again, this was developed by an artist for artists, and now we are bringing it into our world as well. So I'm going to do my best to try and get some information written out all about how this color wheel works. The refills are going to be the size of the refills that we once received from Copic, but those are now smaller. And the big thing is the value for the dollar. So this is why I felt like I really, really needed to bring them to you, because the product goes toe to toe with the Copic product and it is less expensive. And so there's a page here on our website that talks about the sketch marker. And then the other thing that I went ahead and did was I went ahead and did a color chart, and I colored all these colors over and over and over, all the Copic colors, all the sketch marker colors. And the crazy thing is that, I don't know, this is something that you mentioned, Angela, when you look at the lids aren't necessarily the color that you think that they're going to be. And the reason that is, it's not the same because there's so many different things that will make the product vary. The paper that you're using, it might color totally different on one color tone of paper versus another. And then the other thing that is going to actually change with this is going to be the number of times you color it. Just like with Copic's sketch markers, if you color it once, it's light. You color it a second time, you can actually color like 4 different times and it will change the color every single time. So for example, if I were to do this, I'm going to start with the 13 because it's a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to stop my screen share. And I'm going to focus in here on my little paper here. And so I'm going to just go ahead and color once. And then you kind of let it dry a little bit, and then you color twice. Whoops, it helps if I hold down the paper. And already you can start seeing the color difference. And then I color it a third time. And then you color it a fourth time, and it's like you get 4 colors in one with one of these markers. So which one would I call it? So I know the individual now who has created this color system, and I asked, and she said she chose the second time, and she uses a special paper for doing this color selection so that she gets it exact to what it is that she is hoping it will be. So that's just a little bit about the sketch marker system, and hopefully that'll come in handy for people so that they can understand a little bit about, you know, what jazzes me about this new product line that we brought in. And it really is ideal for the images that we have in this week's summer of stamping, because it's like, as you can see, I picked a beautiful range of the soft pastels to do my coloring. And of course, I did not get it finished, so I'll have to finish it and then maybe share it on social media so that everybody can see how I ended up coloring everything. But I just wanted people to know that there's 400 colors here. It's pretty insane and crazy wonderful. There's more violets, there's more yellows. They're just different color tones in this palette too. So it's just been a lot of fun for me to be able to add this to our line.
Yeah, I agree. They're great. I love mixing them with Copics. They blend just the same and everything. And like you said, with the layering of the colors, like I was going to show. So I have I keep this in my swatch book. This is like my
I'm gonna actually, can you I'm gonna stop one of these videos. Actually, I might try and turn it off. I'm gonna try and pin you now. I'm hoping that this will put it big. Okay.
Close. Yeah. There's 3 windows now.
Yes, perfect. Perfect.
Oh, but now it's just you, and then now it's me. But what I was gonna say is there's like the Copic color chart, which I fill in. You can see that I don't have a massive collection of Copics, but by layering on the ink, you basically get darker and darker colors. So you don't need to have a ton of markers in your collection. I certainly don't. I've started to make my own little sketch marker swatch charts, because I think it's really important to know what colors are what you're going to get, as opposed to looking at the lids. And I just find that it's really helpful to have these next to me when I'm, either trying to match like markers to inks or to cardstock. Super duper helpful. So there's like Copic charts are available online to make swatches. Are there ones for sketch marker yet, Ellen?
I am actually working on, like I said, there's that chart that I have created that you can actually put your colors right onto that chart. Mm-hmm. And I know a little secret that's going to be coming someday, that there will be an amazing chart. So that's all I'm going to say.
Great. That's great.
So this is, again, the chart that I had created was my eye. So again, that is a great way to actually start understanding which colors you have, because you can actually color the side with the Copic markers, and then you can add to it with the other markers so that you don't get duplicates. That's why I created this chart, because I don't want people to buy duplicates. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does to me anyways.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to ask you about the way that you color is, do you prefer light to dark or dark to light? Because we all blend in different ways. So what is the way that you like to?
Yes, I feel like this is like one of the biggest questions that I was like looking when I was learning to color with Copic markers. It's like one of the number one things that people ask. I read all sorts, like you should blend light to dark, but then, or other people were saying you should blend dark to light. In my experience and like in the practice that I've done, I actually find it a lot easier to go dark to light. And I find that it like with the lightest tones, like faces and whatnot that I'm trying to color, the more you layer the ink, the darker it's going to get, obviously. So if I start light and go dark, I always find myself working my way back through sort of like the blending gradient. And so I always end up doing another coat when I might not necessarily want to, because it darkens the face too much. So I usually go dark to light. And the benefit of that is that you don't use as much ink, so your markers last longer.
Oh, cool. I've never actually tried it.
Oh,
So,
really?
I just color. I don't really think about what it is that I'm doing. And I just didn't even think about that. But yeah, I think you're right. Because if you only color once, that makes total sense. Because a lot of times I actually would go light to dark and then I'd come back over with my light again because then it just made everything like super smooth.
Yeah, I like the smoothness. It's just that I don't like what it does when it darkens an area that I don't want to darken. Sometimes I'll come back with like the
Right.
mid-tone. I usually pick like colors in threes, like one
Yep.
medium one, and try and blend that way. But I've
Right.
also read that if you are a beginner, it can be helpful to use more colors because the gradient is that much more gradual, if that makes sense, as opposed to you trying to blend like a dark into a light and you get more of a harsh.
Yeah. It's true. And it's really funny because one of the things that I did when I first started coloring was I played with this whole concept. Like, I had shown you how I colored it once and then I colored it a second time. I colored it a third time. I colored it a fourth time. I wanted to see how dark I would go. And then I'd pick up the next marker to see where that would start. So I kind of have an idea as to how these blend on top of each other because I've colored enough with them so that I know if I want a darker color to not have to go 4 times. But if you only have one marker, by all means, go 4 times.
Exactly. Work with what you've got.
Yeah. And the fact that they are refillable is also huge because, again, just like the Copic marker, that's one of the fantastic things that I believe in is just not filling the environment with a bunch of plastic. So I want to be able to refill my markers. And then alcohol ink art is so fun. So fun. So to be able to have these colors for alcohol ink art is also just a really great way to stretch your materials. And so it's like it's super fun to be able to play with these different things and share thoughts and processes on how we each do it because we all do things a little differently. And so to learn is just, I think it's fantastic to be able to have these different changes and things. So
For sure.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and try. I have you on speaker view now. And so what I will do, because the whole painting thing is not working. So in order for people to see your desktop, what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and mute you. And if you could unmute your phone, I think maybe that's our only way to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I've got you muted. Can you see it? Sorry. There it goes.
We got it?
There it goes.
Just wait for the delay. I think it worked.
Yeah, I'll have to remember this for myself next time so that we can actually show my desktop because I'm like, oh, that was not very good planning on my part.
That's okay. I'm just trying to turn my volume up here.
So another thing that we wanted to share with everybody is some different little design principles on how you were thinking when you put your cards together this time.
Yes, for sure. So I feel like the ones that I'm going to talk about are the ones that I talk about all the time because I use them all the time, but I guess that's why they're design principles, right?
Yes, exactly.
They're everywhere. So the first is the rule of thirds. And if you've never heard of this before, just think about basically taking, I'll flip one of my cards over just so you can see, we'll look at a blank panel. If you take your card and you divide it into thirds, so 2 here, line, and then a line here and a line here. So lengthwise and widthwise, you're basically going to get 9 even squares. And there's going to be 4 intersection points, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4, where those lines cross. And those intersection points are like your sweet spots, basically. And it's where our eyes are naturally going to fall. And that's where you want to put the element of your card that's intended to be the focal point. That's where your eye is going to go. And it can be any of the 4 that you prefer. I generally tend to err towards like the bottom right corner. It just feels more natural to me. But you can go top left, top right, any of those. And designing your cards in this way just helps you achieve more balance, like visual balance. Again, it helps the eye, like draw the eye to one area. So you can see that I've done that here with like sort of focusing on this third. In this card, I've done the same thing. Like I said, I gravitate towards that bottom right-hand corner.
Yes, I do too.
And then in this one, it's a little bit different in that I haven't gone with the I haven't gone with one spot, but I've designed in the top third of the panel, which is, I guess, still kind of rule of thirds. You're using the top,
absolutely
top
is.
2 squares.
Yes, yes.
So that's one of them. And then the other one that I think we can talk about is using odd numbers. And I talked about this a little bit in our last live together, but using even numbers creates symmetry, right? Like if you think of like 4 pictures on a wall, if they're in sort of like a grid shape, it's symmetrical, whereas odds create more interest, and a cluster of things sort of captures your gaze and your attention, and the eye is forced to look at each item in that cluster, which means that it's more memorable. So if we design in groups of 3, then we're like, again, the eye knows where to go. We look at each of the elements within the cluster, and you can see that in every one of these cards. So here we have like the 3 critters, and here we have, well, this is designed right into the stamp, so I didn't have to do anything, but there's 3 ice cream cones right there. Yes. And then here I've got the 3 little birdies. I feel like this would be a good game to like play with kids. Be like, point out all the 3. But it's what I do. And I would encourage you, if you feel like your cards look a little bit off balance, or if there's something that's just not quite right about them, maybe it's because you've got like 2 embellishments or 4 embellishments. Try adding an odd number and just see what that does. And sometimes like that just fixes the problem.
I agree. Odd numbers are my friends too.
Yeah, totally. There's something about, I just read that's like a part of our human brains that we like odd numbers more than evens. So
the other design principle that just pops out of me with your cards is how you actually use color to draw in a focal point as well. Like your eye is completely brought into that one corner with those chicks and that beautiful stripe of paper, that strip of paper with the stripes. This is like, boom, here you go, guys. This is where you're supposed to look.
Yeah, for sure. I love a lot of white space. Some people say that it's harder to take photographs of their cards that way. So they like to use more color. I need a lot of white. There's a lot of white in my home. There's a lot of white in my craft room. I just like that clean look, and it really does make whatever color you use, even if it's not super bright, in the colored spot, just pop more, and again, draw the eye. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. And then for all of the coloring that I've done here, this is just ink blending. So we've got some Catherine Pooler Daydream, lemongrass, and clay mask. And then same deal going on here in the background that I made. I didn't even know what I was going to do with that background before, like when I made it, but it turned out to be a good one for a shaker card.
It's phenomenal because it just makes your eye go right to that area again. It's like, it's a great way to make that focal point.
And then here for the stripes, I think, so this is mostly Concord and Ninth cardstock, with the exception of the yellow there, which I just went straight to paper with my Catherine Pooler lemongrass ink pad, and then cut the stripes after with the your Color Me strips, the Essentials by Ellen Color Me strips. So that's how those were made.
Yeah, that's a great way. If you don't have the cardstock that you want to have that will coordinate with what it is that you're coloring, I also use my markers to create strips too, and so that I can make sure that everything is cohesive, because I find that, I don't know, my brain is just one that just gloms onto that whole cohesive thing. It doesn't have to be perfectly matchy, but boy, it has to be cohesive. And what easier way to do that than to actually go in there with your markers or your ink pads? So
yeah, absolutely. I know I don't color enough. I really wish I had more time to do it, but you have to make time, I suppose. It's just like making time for any part of crafting. But coloring, I had a great time. Like, this set has so many like little small images in it.
right.
And I think some people find it challenging to make a whole card with small images. But the cool thing about them is that you can really use them to build up a scene and do anything you want with them. Like I put these chicks on top of each other, but I love, Carly did a card where she used all of the little ice cream bits in like a pile,
Yes.
and like put
Yes.
one of the critters on top. I thought that was so cute. There's so many ways to use them. And if people look around at all of like the Instagram hop today, you'll see even more ideas. I was blown away when I saw them. I was like, I never would have thought of that. And that was so clever. And it's really cool to see how different people take a stamp set and turn it into something completely different.
I could not agree more, because again, it's like I think people do wonder, like, how am I going to work with smaller images? So thank you for sharing that. Are there any other things that you saw today that you can draw attention to? Because I have to admit, I did it very quickly because I've had a very, very busy day today.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I thought about doing here, but I thought from the design that I chose, I thought it was a little bit too busy, is just to use those little things, like the little popsicles in the set, as shaker bits. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and you could easily color those. I would like to stack them on top of each other, and I think Carly did this in one of her cards too. Stack them on top of each other, because that way it gives them a little bit of weight in the shaker, so they don't get like stuck at the top and whatnot.
Right.
That's one way to do them. You can see on, probably more easier for the camera to pick up on this one, but you can see how like with white gel pen, you can create like a shiny effect. And I believe Tiffany did this in some of her examples as well. But it just sort of like makes a little glisten. If you want to even go a step further, and if you have the patience, you can use Glossy Accents and let it dry.
Yes.
I did not have the patience.
Stickles is another wonderful one that adds sparkle, and it's like, oh, ice cream, you might need a little sparkle in there.
Never. Yeah, of course.
And I see sparkle on yours. What did you use for the sparkle to add that little something special to that card?
Oh, this one, that's just a little piece of silver glitter cardstock.
Okay.
So just a really thin strip, again, cut with the, I find it's difficult to just cut 8-inch strips in my trimmer. So I did use the Color Me strips again for that.
Right.
And then that was the, again, direct to paper cardstock color that I made with the lemongrass ink pad.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one is the ice confetti from High Supply Company, I think they're called. And I like that. I was thinking, because it's called ice confetti, I was like, oh, there's like icing on the cupcake. I was like, it's a good fit.
Right. Yeah.
And then you'd mentioned the stickles, but another thing that I thought of, and I'm going to give Carissa a shout out here, because on one of her Catherine Pooler cards, she used action wobbler behind the ship, behind the cruise ship that's in the SOS set. And I thought, how cool would it be with the chicks to have had them on action wobblers, because they're standing on top of each other.
Yes, action wobblers. I always forget about those.
So do I. So I'm gonna have to do it next time. I'm gonna have to remake this card.
Wouldn't that be funny? The one on the top standing. I can't stand here.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cute. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to see what everybody has made with this. And again, a huge shout out to Mama Elephant for creating this set for us, because I know a lot of people are right where it's like super hot right now. And, nothing as good as cute little critters and some ice cream, right?
Well, yes, absolutely. I could do with some right now. I'll mute my phone and come back up to my face if you want to keep chatting away there.
Yep. Oh, I've muted it for you, Angela. You just need to come and unmute your other one. Perfect.
There we go. I think I got it.
To do that. I've been going through the chat window and I don't see any questions for us. But again, oops, am I hearing myself?
Oh, no, I think you're good.
Okay, I'm good. Okay, I thought, did my other camera come back on? Because I don't want to get that feedback, because there's nothing as horrible as that feedback. But again, for all those who would like to see more of Angela's work, you'll have to give her a follow. Can you share the name of your blog your blog, your Instagram profile?
Yes. So it's at My Crafty Perspective. And when you go to my profile, there's a link in my bio, which will take you to my blog and a bunch of other great places. So
awesome. Yeah, because again, the work that you have shared with us is always so beautiful. And I know that like I said, there's the Instagram hop, and then there's the release page. We have everything on one single page. And so we have our entire summer of stamping series that is going on that page. Mm-hmm. And I thought what I'd do is I'd share just a little bean for next week.
Oh, yes, let's do it.
I heard about, these beans people can have. So it's like, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bean to share here. Let's see if I can find it. I had it right next to me, and now I had it disappear on me. There it is. I'm like, where did I put it? So all I'm gonna say is do do. And this is going to be from Julie, and we have some awesome things coming next week that are from both Julie and Heather that are part of our basics line, things that I've been really excited about, that I've been just chomping at the bit for. And I actually did a little crafting this last weekend as I learned how to make some alcoholic backgrounds. I should have had my other phone on.
They're beautiful. Well done.
I'm getting pretty good at this whole alcohol background thing. It's kind of fun. So I'm going to put my shark in there, and maybe I'll actually have a card done for next week.
Yes, I love using, I love hate using alcohol inks because they can be kind of frustrating at first if you have like a particular vision for what you're going for. You can't be too specific, I find. But if you're like willing to kind of let them do their thing, magic can happen. They're so much fun.
And I have been learning some tricks from Vera, who is the artist that I was referring to that helped design the sketch marker line. And I have been playing together with the alcohol inks to really learn how to create these exquisite alcohol ink backgrounds. And so I am just blown away by how we were able to learn how to manipulate it better. So
now, are you just doing that with the refills, like the sketch marker refills?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but again, it's just one of those things that, like this one, it's weird how the colors look on the screen. This one, I let it be a little more free flowing and used deeper colors. Yeah, the colors are terrible on the screen. Sorry, guys. It's not anything like it should be. And this one, I wanted it to be more subtle because I'm like, that other one is amazing and it's wild, but boy, is the shark even going to be visible on that? So then it's like you learn how to manipulate it. So maybe I'll have to do like a little video on how to do these, because again, I didn't do any video work when we were making this just because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Learning tricks.
You will have to do a video. I will be first to watch. It will be bookmarked in my library of things to watch when I'm alcohol inking.
Yeah, there's some incredible techniques that I'm just playing around with and learning, just because I've always enjoyed alcohol so much. Alcohol. Guys. Alcohol. It reminds me of when my daughter was little. She was making a Father's Day gift for my husband, JJ. And they all were making these little coasters, and she put on it, I like to drink. And she had coffee penciled out, but she forgot to pen or paint the coffee part. I like to drink. Ever since. So, yeah, this time I like alcohol.
You like alcohol?
I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like it's so fun. But again, thank you to all of you for joining us. And again, go run and get your cute little set. I should have my other camera on still, but
thank you. I think I can speak for all the crafters in here just to say thank you for all of the amazing summer of stamping collaborations that have been happening, because these are so much fun. The sets are so cute, and I think everyone's going to be really excited to see the release next week and everything else that's still to come in the rest of July. So
yeah, it has been a ball to actually get these produced and to work with everyone. And again, huge thanks to Mama Elephant. I adore Chrissy and Angela. Your name, Angela. That's why we made sure we put Angela Simpson.
Yes.
They are very shy. They don't like getting in front of the camera. So thank you for getting in front of the camera again with me to talk about the stamp set and ways to use all the little bits and how to color it. And we just want to share the joy with everybody and make people laugh. And so I hope they get a good laugh out of the alcohol today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I hope people aren't getting tired of me yet, but I'm always willing to come on and chat with you about stuff like this.
Oh, I love it. And I really appreciate that you're willing to do that. So thank you again, and have a fantastic weekend to everybody. We've been working like crazy in the warehouse to get the orders out today. They've shipped a lot of anybody who's ordered today, they've shipped a lot of them. They worked so hard today. So anyways, that is about it. And just a huge thanks to everybody for joining us. So we are going to sign off and be certain to tune in next Friday, because next Friday I'm going live with Julie. So see you all again soon. Bye.